We are live, and I'm cheating here on my phone. This is Coach Arnie with the with Health, Love, and Life. Excuse me, I was just double checking my notes here. So forgive me, please. You like that? Forgive me. But and yeah, here we go. All right. Yeah. So this is the Health, Love, and Life show, and thanks to CC Chat, we have an opportunity to come to you every Thursday evening and share some wisdom. And sometimes we have guests, and sometimes we don't. Actually, I was just on a little chat with CC, and we were talking about a couple new guests. And I'm always meeting people all the time. I didn't even get a chance to tell her that I had a wonderful phone call with somebody today. I thought I was being interviewed, and I think I ended up interviewing her. And it ended with, Arnie, I think I'm going to allow you into my inner circle. And then it clicked in me, because I was in my car, who she was and why I connected with her, because she was a mental health advocate. And it's kind of one of my pet peeves, one of my pet projects is mental health, because of my background in brain rehabilitation. But and all this kind of leads into what we're going to talk about tonight, which is the topic of forgiveness and how forgiveness starts with us. And I'm going to get into some general ideas and thoughts about forgiveness, but it's a difficult topic for most of us when we first hear about it. I first jumped into this 20 years ago, and I was blessed to have a great coach. 20 years ago, we didn't call them coaches, even though they were around, but I guess he would be my therapist, but he was more of a coach for my wife and I. And it was like a master's program. It was like a doctoral program in the study of human beings, starting with me, because none of this works unless you understand yourself. And that's before, and I was already doing brain rehabilitation, but certain things in my life hadn't happened yet. So these tools were really needed. Sometimes God does that for us. He prepares us. I was in my conversation today. I told this lady, I said, I don't know why we're having this conversation, but I do believe that God prepares us for something along our journey, whatever that might be. So if you're someone tonight that is really in a tough spot, especially with anger and resentment, maybe this is the message you need to hear, because forgiveness is one of those things that's easily said, but very difficult to do and believe, because it all sounds great when we're in church or somebody's talking about forgiveness and this and that. It sounds great, but I remember when it really came to me 20 years ago, when my coach said, here's what I want you to do. He goes, I want you to make a list of all the people that you have resentment towards, anger. Okay, got it. And now I want you to call them up and ask for their forgiveness. I said, whoa, what are you talking about, man? You're talking crazy stuff now. And in a very straight face, he says, no. Now, some people you may not be able to get a hold of. In that case, you're going to have to write a letter. But no, everybody in your life that you've had issues with, I should do that drill again, because that list is a lot bigger now. But no, but I had a pretty good list. you don't think about it until you actually think about it. But I had a lot of people in my life that had hurt me. And, back when you're younger, at least I was, it's like, hey, screw him, screw her. They hurt me. I didn't do anything to hurt them. I'm perfect. They need to come crawling back to me and beg for my forgiveness. Right? And don't tell me you're not thinking that. Guarantee you're thinking that. Because we all think that way. And so when somebody says, no, it's one thing to forgive them here. It's another thing when someone who you're paying a lot of money to says, no, you're going to call them on the phone. You're going to get in a conversation with them. And you're going to ask them to forgive you. Holy smokes. That was like, that's like teeth chattering, no way in hell, ain't going to happen situation. Well, it happened. It was the craziest. I had a script and everything. And it's one of those deals. It's like making a big sales call, you got to make that call. You get on the phone, you get them on the call, finally get through the gatekeeper, you get to the person, and you're like, oh man, please, 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 please. And they go, yeah, I'll buy the widget from you. It's like, what? It's like today I had to follow up with somebody who my daughter and her husband, who's he works with recruiters, and he said, they both said, don't call him. He may have forgot he had that phone number on there. I go, but I got his mobile phone number. He goes, I know. Now this is me with wisdom talking to somebody with skill, not a lot of wisdom yet, but I trust him because he's doing really well. And this is kind of a new thing for me, and I just wanted some advice. And they both said, no, you don't want to do that, man. You're going to freak him out. And I said, okay, so what should I do? And then I waited. They said, wait till Tuesday because it's Labor Day weekend. And then wait till about mid-morning because he's going to be really busy with all this stuff. And then I want you to send him a note on LinkedIn. And I'm feeling like a big chicken, right? I said, okay. So I did all that. Didn't hear anything. And then some other things happened with what I was looking into. And I thought, oh boy, I'm losing control here. So I found somebody else that responded to me from the same company, sent them a video. I'm up in the game here a little bit. Sent them an email. Didn't hear anything. Okay. And then I even called my daughter and she goes, okay, call him, but don't call him till this afternoon. And I'm thinking, nobody wants to offend anybody, right? But why am I offending them? I'm going to help them. I'm picking them. So there's a point to this. I got busy yesterday and I forgot to call them. I said, well, I'm going to call today. And then one of my appointments got moved up because she forgot we were 3 hours difference. So that took the time I was going to call earlier. So then I'm on my way home. I had to make a stop. Like, oh, man, I got to make that call. So, okay, I got in, put my stuff away, sat at my desk, got my phone out, made the call. I'm sitting there going, okay, come on. Bam! A little kid answers the phone. I went, what? What is? And then he got on the phone. I said, his name is Tyler. I said, Tyler? And I introduced myself. He goes, yeah. I go, is this a good time? He goes, yeah. He goes, forget my little kid there. My little boy, he's, and I knew he had a little boy because I did a little recon work. And he's first day of school, first grade. And I go, good for you, Dad. And we had a little fun with it. And, reminding him who I was. He goes, oh, yeah. He goes, you know what? He goes, send over whatever you want me to do. I used to have a great guy to talk to. He's left, but I'm going to find somebody for you. He couldn't have been any kinder. And here I had all this anxiety and fear of this monster was going to jump down my throat. And he's just a young guy who's been there, X number of years, knows the company. And he goes, yeah, send him what you got. No problem. I'll give you some help. And that's really how it works, guys. So when I was calling people up asking them forgiveness, let me share you a story in that episode with my dad. I mean, I had a lot of resentment to my dad, a lot. We didn't get along at all. And I remember where I was exactly here in my house when I made the call. I remember the conversation. I don't remember the script, but I know I asked him to forgive me and all these things. And at the end of it, you got to know my dad. He goes, son, do you feel better? And I go, I do. And I got off the phone and I looked at my wife and I just started laughing because he didn't get it, but it wasn't for him. It wasn't for him. It was for me. And I did feel better. But I don't think he even knew that I had resentment against him, even though I told him that. It's part of the script. Forgive me for the bitterness that I have for you. And so he got it as far as that goes, but he didn't get it as far as, our relationship goes. And if he did, he didn't let on to it because he came from a generation that you didn't show that kind of weakness. And which is why you had sons like me that didn't know how to deal with that kind of stuff. So the point of that was, once I made the call with the big fish like him, the rest of it was kind of easy because most of the people I didn't even know that much or didn't matter. But I got it off my chest, and they were shocked. They were shocked that I was asking them to forgive me. They're probably thinking, man, I was a jerk. This guy's asking me to forgive him. I'm the ass. I'm the one that should be forgiven. So, and that's how it generally goes. But we're not doing that. See, here's the thing. When we think about forgiveness, we're thinking it's for people to earn it. Like I said earlier, I am the king. You must grovel at my feet and ask for forgiveness, and then I will grant it to you if I so believe that you deserve it. No. It's not like that. See, I'm going to back up for just a second. Write this down. Forgiveness costs nothing, but it's worth millions. Forgiveness costs nothing, but it's worth millions. That's right. See, forgiveness is not something you earn. Forgiveness is something that is given. So all of you that think that you're large and in charge, you're looking at life the wrong way. I'm not judging you. I'm just telling you. Save yourself the trouble. When we allow people to occupy space in our head, they take a lot of our most valuable thing that we have in life, time. They take a lot of our time away. I mean, I'll be on hikes for hours. And sometimes I'm listening to my books or things and that. Unless I'm out in the wilderness, then I don't listen to anything. But there are times, thoughts are racing through my head, which is one of the reasons I like going on long hikes and runs and stuff. Because, man, I tell you, it's like a whirlwind. It's like flushing the toilet in your brain. It just flushes all that stuff out. But when things getting flushed out, stuff will come up about everybody in my life, my kids, my wife, my friends, my clients, everything. And Sometimes it'll just be crazy thoughts, and I'll just go, man, let that go. It's crazy. It's not worth it. Let it go. And when we hold on to those thoughts for a long period of time, and it causes resentment, and if I'm having those thoughts the entire time I'm out in the wilderness, I just wasted an amazing amount of time to be with God, to be with myself, to be in nature, to be free, to be creative in my thoughts, and be joyful. Because I allowed bitterness, resentment to suck the energy out of my life. So the reason we forgive and we give it freely is because we want to free ourselves from the prison of resentment. Because that's what bitterness and resentment are. It's a prison. Because when your thoughts are dominated by other people's behavior, things they did to us 10 years ago, 20 years ago, a second ago, it doesn't allow you to use your time to have thoughts of love and joy, passion in your life, because that time is taken away. And so forgiveness is a gift. It's a gift to be given. And the more freely you give forgiveness, the more free you will be in your own life. Right? I heard it once asked by somebody, said, well, who should I forgive? The answer was everybody. You know, it's like, I think it's in Mark in the Bible. Don't know the exact verse, but I could find it pretty quickly. And it's about vengeance. Because even strong Christians, when it comes to vengeance, and they, you know, I trust God. I mean, man, I love God. God's this, God's that. God takes care of me. I have faith, blah, blah, blah. But God, when it comes to vengeance, I'll take care of that. That's mine. No, it's not. No, it's not. And it's very clearly stated in the Bible that vengeance is God's. And you need to trust that God will do what's right. May not be in your time, but you have to trust that God will take care of it. I mean, it's just the way it works. Because you don't want the actions of other people to dominate your thoughts. You want to be in control of your thoughts, not somebody else that you don't even care. I mean, you could care less about them. You know, they screwed you. They cheated you. They hurt you. But you need to forgive. This is the tricky part. You need to forgive them for the bitterness that you have against them. Yeah. Because those thoughts are hurting you. They're not hurting them. They could care less. Most people don't even know they did stupid shit. Do you know that? When you ask them, like my dad, he didn't even realize it. Oh, son, you feeling better now? Yeah. Thanks, Dad. He didn't understand all the pain he had caused me for, God, I would have been 40, 41. He had no idea. And if he ever did, he never let me in on it. Which is too bad. So, we're going to take a quick break here. So hang on. We'll be right back. with the Health, Love, and Life show on the WGSN-DB Going Solo Network. All right, we are back, and we're talking about forgiveness. Mark, resentment causes bitterness. You can't sweat the small stuff. Life is too short. Beautiful, buddy. That is true. Vengeance is mine, saith the Lord. That's it, man. Except all of us want to take that one away from him. It's in Mark. Give me the verse. Give me the verse, Mark. It's in Mark. But it's true. Mark is exactly right. You know, vengeance is not for us. It's for God. And, you know, bitterness, resentment, it's just an energy waster. So before I get into a list of things that I put down that forgiveness helps with, I'm going to continue to go through some of these little points, like giving forgiveness. Remember we talked about it. It's not earned, it's given. Giving forgiveness to other people. Anybody. You know, anybody. Yeah, anybody. Frees my spirit. There's nothing worse, guys, than having a tormented spirit. You know when you're around somebody with a tormented spirit because of the words that come out of their mouth, their actions. They're angry. They're angry. They're bitter because they've been hurt. I talked to a lady today. I love her spirit. And we were talking about relationships. And she shared to me a story about how she protects herself. Now, I've heard this a lot. I've done a lot of relationship work. And she talked about how she built up her protection. And she's very careful who gets beyond that boundary. Now, kind of brag a little bit. By the end of our call, she allowed me into her inner circle. I'll tell you my secret later. But after she was finished with her description of that, I said, you know, may I share something with you? She said, sure. So I shared with her a book, Wild at Heart, which when I read it tore me a new one. Shared it with my dad, and he didn't get it. But he read it. But it's okay. It's okay. I got it. And another book in that series that author and his wife wrote, it. It was about how ladies will build up a castle around them to protect them. Every time something bad happens to them, a new brick goes up. You know, relationship, this or that. Somebody heard some brick. Pretty soon you have a castle of protection. It's not like God. God provides, if you're spiritual, God provides a hedge of protection around us until we're done, until we're finished doing what we're supposed to do on this planet. There is a hedge of protection around you and I. It's true. Believe it or not. And what we do, we build that wall around us, that shell. Well, she was building a castle around her. So I shared that thought with her, and she goes, okay, you're right. Yeah, I get it. I go, but I think what you're looking for, and I didn't want to generalize. I wanted to give her my perspective of working with enough young ladies. And I don't think she was that young. I think she was probably 30s, maybe early 40s. And I go, but something tells me, because I can hear it in your heart, that you're waiting for that knight in shining armor to come riding up in that white stallion to rescue you from that castle of yours and take you on a great adventure that both of you can enjoy. Not his adventure, both of your adventures. And she went, yeah. But that I could tell it made her think. Because it's one thing to protect ourselves from getting hurt. I hear it all the time. We've all done it. That's the last time that's going to happen to me. And I think I did a show on it here. But it's like in martial arts. When you walk into a match, you never walk in like this with your head down. You walk in leading with your head, but your head up, your eyes up. But you still got to lead with your head. And that's kind of the way life is in relationships. It doesn't have to be. A lot of people, I know some very close people in my life that have gone turtle. They just pull their head back, crawl up into their shell, and that's how they live life. Doesn't matter what I say to them. Because even though I have empathy and I understand what they've gone through, doesn't matter. Some people just want to be bitter. And I can't change them, and you can't change them. So some people will never be rescued. Because even when that knight in shining armor comes rolling by, they'll never see him. And it's sad. That's what life will do to us. That's what people do to people. Little inside baseball. People are inherently evil. Go with me here. People are inherently bad. And I had a great conversation with a client this morning. And I said, look, it's a lot easier to make fun of somebody, to tease them, to laugh at what they were telling you, than it is to take a deep breath, think about what they're saying, try to understand their point of view, respond appropriately. That takes thought. That takes confidence. Takes discipline. The other way doesn't take anything. You just go, hey, that's goofy. You're a dummy. I can't believe you said that. Where'd you learn that nonsense from? That's easy. And that's why it's so easy for us. And that's why our nature is to be bad. It's true. Our nature is to be bad. It takes work to be good. It takes discipline to be good. It's just the way it is. Study people. So you always wonder, well, why are all these people doing these dumb things? That's because that's what people do. If you choose to respond appropriately, whatever that might be, you are in the top. I'll be generous here. 5%. 5%. Most people don't care about this stuff, guys. They have no filter. They're going to say what they want to say. Especially if they're drinking or doing other stuff. They don't care. Because it's about what makes them feel good. Yeah. So when you're feeling bitterness to that person, to the point of resentment and all the other goofy things that happen, you may have to ask him, hey, Mary, I hope you can forgive me for my bitterness that I have right now with what's going on between us. What are you talking about? Just goofy thoughts I'm having. Knock it off. You're being silly. Of course I forgive you. Knock it off. She doesn't get it, but it's okay. You needed to do it. You needed to do it. It's not your job to make sure that they get it. We're going to lead into my main point here. It becomes a gift to ourselves. That's right. Forgiveness becomes a gift to you. So remember, it started with forgiving somebody, even though you didn't think they deserved it. Then you gave it to them. They still didn't understand it. They didn't even know they did anything wrong. And now we're working our way down to it's a gift to ourselves. That's right. It's to me, it's the ultimate act of self-love. Because if you can forgive yourself, or forgive other people for what you're thinking, you are nurturing yourself. You are bathing yourself in love. And love starts right here. Love does not start out there. That's a trap. Waiting for other people to love you is a trap because it puts performance on you. The way you attract love is by loving this person right here. And that starts with forgiveness. Because when we forgive others, we begin the process of loving ourselves. And as I already said earlier, bitterness and resentment is all about taking energy away from us. So we want to bring energy into us, which is love, and shut off all the energy leaks, which is bitterness. And then ultimately what will happen is, as I said earlier, you will free yourself from that prison. And you'll be free to have thoughts of love, kindness, joy, happiness. Everybody wants to be happy, right? But not if we're trapped in a prison of bitterness. You're not going to be happy. I promise you. So forgiveness starts with you. So unless you can forgive yourself for stuff that goes on in our head, oh, the reason that person doesn't love me because I'm this and not good enough on this, or I missed that date. Most people don't even have a clue what you did. You're the one thinking about it. So you got to forgive yourself. Forgive yourself for your past mistakes. And remember, past. We just had another past. So forgive yourself. And remind yourself that your future is bright. But your future is not bright if you're constantly worrying about the stuff you did that you haven't forgiven yourself for. Because if you can't forgive yourself, then why should other people forgive you? It's like love, right? So let's take the last few minutes here and look at a few things that I've written down. A lot of these are from a physiological standpoint. Because we know the big picture is forgiveness is about love, and it's about a love of you. It's not about the other person. It's about forgiving ourselves and loving ourselves and nurturing ourselves. It's not about making the other person jump through hoops. You're given a gift to them. Yeah, you're giving them forgiveness. Okay? So now that we understand that forgiveness is an inside job, now let's go out from out into out. And let's see what other things are going on here. Well, when we start to do this, our relationships are improved. One of the things I try to do all the time, and it's hard, I've been married a long time, is when crazy stuff happens, you got to suck it up and just ask for forgiveness as soon as it's over. And there's a lot of stuff written on there. Oh, you don't want to do that. You don't want to wait. Some, why? Why lose a night's sleep? I'm not saying I'm perfect, believe me, but it will improve your relationships, intimate relationships, your friendships, your business relationships. Stuff happens, guys. We are inherently bad people. So if you make it a habit of forgiving people, including yourself, on a regular basis, it gets a lot easier. Mental health. That's a big one today, right? We talked about that earlier. Mental health is out of control. Yeah. I mean, you got anxiety, depression, suicides. You have bipolar. You have just all kind of crazy stuff going. PTSD. We had a guest on there a couple weeks ago. We had another guest, John, with the stuff that he's gone through in his life because of disabilities. And, we got to forgive ourselves all that stuff. And when we do, our mental health gets better. I promise you it does. It does. Do you realize that it's around 10%? 10% of all men, and man, I used to get in some crazy debates on this, but 10% of most mental illnesses are blood, brain chemistry related. And one of the things that's come into my favor on that in the recent years is that most doctors don't even test the blood anymore about that. They just diagnose and label. And then what people do, they live up to that label. Well, I'm bipolar. Well, I'm schizophrenic. Well, I'm anxious. I'm depressed. I'm this. I'm that. Now they have a new label to play around with. It's too bad. Too bad. So mental health is improved with forgiveness. Decreases anxiety and stress. And what did I put here? Hostility. Yeah, anger. But have we not been talking about that? It will decrease all those things. I promise you it will. One of the things, I have a client, he's the most anxious, I love him to death. He's the most anxious person I know. And he got an extension on his job today. It's like his brain will look for the negative though. And I have to constantly remind him about the positive. Well, one of the biggest roadblocks in his life right now is something that happened to him about 3 years ago. And we've talked about it a million times. And he is just not ready to forgive this person. So he's carrying this backpack. And this woman probably weighed about 140 pounds. So he's been carrying around a 140-pound person for a couple, 3 years now. It gets heavy. At some point, he's going to release this. I said, when you're ready. And he'll go through, I'm ready. I'll go until he doesn't do it. And he doesn't have to get her on the phone, but there's things I'm going to have him do, writing things down, getting rid of it, getting it off, talk about it. It's not ready. And it's really hurting. It's really crimping his style, as they say. Because he's angry. He's angry. It'll decrease your blood pressure. That's a simple one, right? You can understand that. You're angry, your blood pressure goes up. You're calm, blood pressure goes down. Make sense? I think it does. How about it decreases your depression? We talked about anxiety. A lot of these overlap, but you can see how it can decrease your depression, which is your thoughts on the past, because we want to learn how to release the past. Yeah. And what does forgiveness do? It releases us from the past. Depression. How about improving your immune system? And that's big right now with COVID and all this stuff, but there's so much anger out there. Oh my God. Anger. I'm telling you what it does. It makes you more susceptible to illness, whether it's COVID or a cold, the flu. It weakens your immune system, guys. Evil, bitter, resentful thoughts weaken your immune system. You're better off getting rid of that stuff. And we talked about it. You know, if you can't do it face to face, you can do the phone. If you can't do the phone, write a letter. Get it off your chest. Talk about it. Then get rid of it. Move on. Boom. Dump it. Move on. And again, another one I just found here because a lot of these were crossing over. General heart health. We talk about blood pressure, but general heart health, and a lot of it has to do with blood flow and all that stuff, because you know how we all feel when we're anxious or we're angry. It affects, our chest. Sometimes we feel like we're having a heart attack. Chest hurts. Yeah. Believe it or not. And so you need to think about that. And then the last thing I talked about was self-esteem. It improves your self-esteem. It improves the way you think about yourself. Right? I mean, if you see this yourself as somebody that's not lovable, that's resentful, it's bitter, angry, is that lovable? Probably not. But if you start to see yourself as lovable, because you start to release the anger, you release the resentment, you release the bitterness, and then you see yourself as this loving, kind, empathetic person. That, my friends, works every time. It really does. It works every time. So self-esteem is powerful. So there's just a few things physiologically that forgiveness does affect. But the bottom line is, guys, let's go back to that big golden nugget I threw at you earlier. It's forgiveness is free, but it's worth millions. So just think about that the next time you're holding thoughts of resentment, bitterness. Is it time for you to get rid of those thoughts and just move on with your life? Quit carrying around 150-pound bodies. It gets heavy. Let it go. All right, guys. Hey, this has been Coach Arnie with the Health, Love, and Life Show on the GoingSoloMedia.com, WGSN-DB Going Solo Network. There's my contact information. Give me a call. Send me an email. Look me up. Would love to talk to you. Appreciate all you guys. And I look forward to hearing from you, seeing you, talking to you next week. Have a great rest of your week.